Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone. This
Hello.
is a post video stream to answer any questions you have. And I'm joined by Ryan, aka LaserPants.
I am here. I have
And
joined
his
you.
beard. He brought his beard this time, everyone.
I figured I'd bring it along.
It's growing on you after all.
It is.
I'm also joined by Michael French of RetroBlasting.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Ryan is like his live stream, his show. I'm going to talk about you for a minute, Ryan, like you're not here.
Okay.
His show is what his show is what I've talked about before, where like there are people that are just inherently good at maximizing a specific kind of format for content delivery. So like we used to talk about this with podcasting a lot, where everybody can have a podcast, but that's what makes it extra difficult to do it well. And similarly, like in costuming, anybody can put on a Superman outfit, but there's no latitude for whether or not it's perfect or horrible. You either have to nail it with the bodybuilding and everything else, or you just look like a dude in three-way lycra. Like it's just, whatever. And I'm not kidding when I say that like 3POA is like it's an example of perfecting that medium. Like it's the perfect blend for that live stream format. Like and here I am on 2 Cents Toys talking about 3POA. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's what the platform's for now.
Thank you. I'm humbled. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, it's really good. It's really fun, and you just have the right personality for a live stream. It's a joy to watch. It's a true joy to watch. So
thanks, man.
Yeah.
It is.
Anyway, hi.
That's why in the video I was like, I want to do more live stuff, but I'm like, I can't go toe to toe with 3POA. I can't.
Yes,
It's
you can.
Oh no. Oh no.
I mean, don't do it on Saturday night, but any other night.
You have to have looks and charisma. I don't have that.
You know what Sal and I do for live streaming? We talk about like tinfoil hat ancient mysteries instead. And we're content with our like 11 to 17 people that show up. Because
right.
that's our wheelhouse right there.
2 of them might be me, but that's not the point.
You talk about Obekli Tepe and you're going to get views. All right. It's going to happen. Great show.
Man. So what are your what's the I saw that there's a topic tonight, Sal, regarding selling collections. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, because Michael's selling his entire catalog, and I want to know. Yeah,
it's a live auction.
That's right.
It's gonna last 17 days.
Yeah, well, it's going to be longer than that, because as that's going, people are like, well, I saw that you were trying to sell this, but you didn't have this one, so I sent you 3 of them.
Yeah, people are really generous in this community, and it's humbling. It really is humbling.
That's right.
I went to the P.O. box today, as a matter of fact. I was actually sending toys to Tim Ward. I was sending him some stuff that I'd helped to find for him. And in the process, I had to check the P.O. box. Even though I don't advertise it, I don't. And sure enough, there were 2 packages in there. I have no idea what's in them, but one of them was heavy. So people
malaria,
are so generous.
probably.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's not a body part.
I know, right?
I saw you only had 2 hands, so I sent you a 3rd.
I know you were into prop replicas, so I got someone's right hand for you to hold that lightsaber hilt in on your desk. Yeah.
So I wanted to point out, Jeremy says, without you, Sal, I feel loose but incomplete. Well, with you, Jeremy, I feel loose but whole.
Jeff McElwee, I have not gotten your parcel yet, but I will be checking next week to make sure. Your parcel was not there yet, but I will check. Yes.
Yep. There were a few. So, for those that don't know, I have my spectacles here, my old man eyes.
I have mine as well.
Causes a really bad glare, so I can't read the comments and where it is. Like it's a whole thing. So they'll be going on and off. Master Son yes, it's live now. That was a premiere, which gives you like a live chat to interact with. It's kind of it's a bear. Jeff McElwee says, Sal, I want to say I hope you find what you're looking for. Also, your craft customized videos were my favorite. Like I said, though, thank you. I'm glad someone liked them. There's I can count on probably 2 hands how many people actually like those videos. Wolfie, are you going to grow your beard out when you're done with service? Yes. The day I get out in November of next year, I'm never shaving my face again. Oh, good.
I don't want you to feel alone.
I want to cover myself up. You got X-ray vision with them things. Into the future.
That's right.
Robert's Infinite Realms. Sal, your vid really spoke to me. I'm trying to thin out some of my collection. I'm struggling. That and the whole YouTube thing, I do relate. You're leaving as I'm returning, but understand. Yeah, it's a whole fucking thing. So
there we go.
Yeah, Ben Stutley just jumped off the premiere. Wanted to drop all the best. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Okay. Oh god, it jumped. All right, I'm trying to catch up. Sorry, people.
That's all good.
Hello, everyone that's joined. All that shit. Okay, I can take these off now. Jeff
McElwee.
Mm-hmm.
I get that reference.
Mm-hmm.
Birth control glasses, right?
Yep, birth control glasses.
Yep.
So I still have a pair of mine, I think. They're a lot nicer now. They changed the frames, I want to say the mid or early 2010s, because they used to. Is my library book overdue, Michael?
These are my glasses I wear when I go out clubbing.
Thug life.
There it is.
That's all I can play before. Well, you're not monetized, so I guess it doesn't matter. We could just play it. It's fine. You know, Snoop Dogg might monetize this stream.
I hope he does. Yeah, so there was a bit of a hiccup. I had turned off monetization. My channel is still monetized, but I don't monetize the videos individually.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned off I didn't. Well, I guess I never turned it on, because you have to physically turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
I never monetized the video that just came out, but I learned from Ryan during that premiere, you have to go and disable super chats individually. I didn't know that. So Jeremy sent one, and I do thank you, sir, but they were not supposed to be enabled. I actually had to go in and disable them for this because I didn't know that was a thing.
It happened to me one time. That
was Christmas, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that was me. I sent the super sticker, and you guys were like, thanks, but how did that happen?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
You broke Christmas, Ryan.
Not the first time.
You ruined Christmas again.
Now come over here and fight your father.
That's
I love this. I've got a lot of issues with you people, and you're all going to hear about it.
So I don't want to jump ahead too much, because I don't know if you have a strict format for the night, but how does it feel so far? Because you've been offloading stuff for at least a month, at least couple months.
I did a big push before Joe Fest, and that was to get rid of crap that I didn't want, and then I started offloading. I'm gonna say it was it was before Christmas is when I started, and that was reaching out to people individually, hey, before I put everything to everyone, do you want anything specific? And then I had a big push a couple of days ago, and I dropped a turd on the ground when that happened, because I'm a big push. Poop jokes. That's what you come for.
So how does it geez, I had a question. How does it feel so far?
It's weird. It's how do I describe you? It's a kind of roller coaster of emotions. It feels nice once the stuff's gone, and I can kind of get used to it not being there, the Joe shelves being empty. I can finally walk through there and not shimmy or anything like that, which is nice. I still do it instinctively. I'll go to the kitchen and fucking turn, and I'm I don't have to do that anymore. like if you saw, I mean, you guys saw the video. A lot of the Marvel Legends fell over. That was just gonna happen because one of the guys that came wanted specific ones. He'd pick one up and everything would just fall off. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to pick that up anymore. I don't care. It's great. But when I'm selling the stuff, like I go through like the stages of grief in a rapid fire. I have like my denial, like, oh no, I don't want to. Then I go through the bargaining and all. I should just rapid fire to eventually acceptance. Like, yeah, fine. I don't. It's like I was refusing to let shit go for like less than what it was worth, and now I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't fucking care. I want it gone. Helps that I've been watching a lot of Hoarders episodes on YouTube. So,
that's a good show for toy collectors to watch regularly.
It is.
Like it keeps you in check.
Yeah.
But I sell stuff. I kind of rotate stuff out of the collection, and bring new stuff in. That's why I like doing toy shows. I can sell stuff off while also looking for new stuff. But I notice I only have feelings about it the moment I sell it. And then I forget about it. And then maybe one day I might think, oh, I want to set up this display with this character selection, this team, or this movie. Oh, but I sold this thing and now it's not. And then I get over it real quick. I mean, it's fine. Just sell stuff. And guess what? If you really, really want it, it's still out there somewhere.
Right.
It like these things still exist. Plastic lasts a long, long time.
Right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if it took you 5 years of constant searching to find something, it's a safe bet you probably love it so much you're never going to want to sell it because of that. But the other stuff, like I remember when I was in graduate school, this was like 2004, and I said, you know what? I just don't want all of this episode 1 stuff that I collected for no good reason. And, I just started offloading a bunch of stuff. And, at first you think, oh, I'm downsizing my Star Wars collection. How am I going to feel? And then suddenly you're like, hey, I don't have to carry those 4 bins around with me anymore. Like everywhere I go. Or I think I've told this story before when we started the channel, I did this contest to give away a whole run of Superman Man of Steel comics. And then after that, I tried to sell the other runs, Adventures of Superman, and Action Comics. I couldn't get any bites on eBay for these complete runs, like that were like 20-year runs. And so I finally gave them to one of the guys that was moving. He was a part of the moving company that helped us move here. And he was like, what? I said, yeah, take them. And he took like 3 long boxes with him, and I'm grateful I don't have to carry them around anymore. So I know the feeling. And Sal's he's been a positive influence on me lately because, he goes in phases. Like there's a period where you offload a lot, and then there's a period where you collect and you acquire. And
the phase where you buy Bionic 6 toys.
Right. And the man in the chat right now who and that's another topic is the joy of selling to friends rather than randos, because friends know the hobby and they know, like, they don't sit there and you don't nickel and dime them, and they generally don't nickel and dime you. And if they do, then suddenly you realize you didn't really know that person all that well. But Master Son, he now owns the Bionic 6 laboratory playset that I showed in the video. That is his now. But today, Sal's been a really good influence lately. He's been keeping me up to date on his collection downsizing. Today, I packed up a bunch of stuff that I had kept as parts just in case. I'm never gonna do it. Like when I've already got 4 complete Sky Strikers. Why do I need a shell and some bits of a Sky Striker? Like, why am I holding on to that? So I packed up a bunch of vintage G.I. Joe and a bunch of vintage Star Wars parts and pieces, and I just took them over to Second Chance Toys. And I walked right in, and Chance was like, oh, hey. And I had these 2 huge boxes, and I said, I'm taking these straight to the back. this is not me coming in trying to sell you anything. And he was like, I got it, because I've done that with him before. I just bring in parts. It was good. It made a lot of room in an area that I needed. Like, Sal's been a good influence today.
It feels like when you're downsizing, like I feel like I can breathe a little bit. Like I'm like, oh, this is starting to like. I mean, it's obviously my apartment. This is all my bullshit everywhere. But it's like, oh, this starts to look like someone lives here instead of like being a quasi museum.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, you learn that space can be the most valuable part of your collection. Yeah, it's nice to have more space.
And that includes display shelves too. When you're displaying things on a shelf, as you can see from behind Ryan right now, negative space is really important in a display. It actually helps make it pop more.
Right. And that's kind of I alluded to that, or I guess I said it outright in the video. That motherfucker's about to fall over. It's that stupid League of Legends thing that I got that looked cool, and he's like leaning like that, and I'm like, he's gonna fall. But like my MCU shelf has barely been touched, and it's so packed. Like you have to like really like stick your head into the shelf to see who all's in there, and it's like you can't even enjoy it. Like I can't walk by and be like, oh, okay, that's cool. We got them set up. It's like you can't see anybody. It's just a blob of plastic in there.
Yep.
So
I have this one corner of one shelf that's called like the random catch-all area, and it's where like this whole gaggle of random action figures kind of congregate, and that's the one area where I allow it to just be this. It's literally 1/3 of a shelf just in one end, and that's where the Bucky O'Hare figures sit, and Automan, and the few random Migos that I have, Smurf characters, some California raisins, and that's where they all just hang out. It's like that's under Andy's bed where things have been forgotten, kind of thing.
See, Island of Misfit Toys.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because I have the same thing, and the detail right there. I don't know if you can see it, but you can kind of the very bottom. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Yeah, no, I can. I got the ED-209 down there with RoboCop and John Wick, and the Warriors. Right, and just a bunch of random movie figures that don't take up a whole shelf, but I like them all, and it's a cool display. It's like an 80s to 90s movie display. Right. 70s Warriors. Yeah. But I said John Wick, so it's a movie display.
It's a movie display.
Yeah, but just I think every collector has like random shelf of just bits and pieces of different things.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at it right now. The Visionaries are gone, but I used to have Fisher Price Adventure People, Battle Beast, and Visionaries all in this one little box shelf.
That's more obscure 80s properties. Yeah. It's cool.
Sure, or that's where the fuck they fit.
Yeah.
Let me catch up on some of these chats here. Put my peepers on. Let's see. It's weird not having super chats enabled, because it was like able to like kind of broke it up so you could like read little chats, super chat read, and then now it's like it's all gray.
Hey, but that means it's very egalitarian now. Like everybody has an equal chance.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Reclaimers. Yeah, Matt. I saw it, but I can't find it. But Matt, Reclaimers Vintage, who. So little known fact,
because it's all on the wheel. We collect, we purge, we get bored and/or nostalgia, sick, rinse, repeat.
Yeah. But he had one about the prices, where like prices are in the toilet right now. Like it's hard to move stuff, because we were on a high from like 2019 to 2021 where they're all at peak. Now we're just sliding off real hard. But fun fact, I actually met Matt before I met anyone else in our toy group, toy community. I bought Shipwreck version 2 off of him in 2018, I think it was. But let's see here. Matchton says, "Here come the toy vultures." You're not lying. Like in the video I put out, whatever that was, like last week, whatever that was, I specifically said, please don't reach out to me to buy shit. I had like 4 people do it anyway, and I'm like, one thing. I asked one thing, couldn't do it, so they got blocked. There it is.
And look, you mentioned earlier. Well, go ahead and read that.
Yeah, it said toy prices are in the basement right now, so it's a rough time to unload. You were saying, Ryan?
Oh, I was just saying, you mentioned you kind of checked around with your friends to sell stuff. I bought some stuff from you.
You did.
And when it comes to buying something from my friends, especially when it comes to like the toy hobby, I don't dicker. Like they tell me the price, and that's the price. Like I don't think, like if you're at a toy show, it's some random guy. Yeah, of course you're gonna dicker, right? You're gonna barter or bargain. But your friends, like, hopefully they're already giving you a deal, and if they're not, say, I'm good,
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead, Michael.
No, go ahead. Sorry, Ryan.
I don't know. I just get a bad taste in my mouth when I'm already giving someone an amazing deal on something, right? And then they're like, "Would you take 20% less?" It's like,
right.
I'm already giving it to you for a song, man.
Right. I don't, as they say in Life of Brian, I don't haggle. I don't haggle.
Yeah.
And they like, I told Sal, just like I told Seth Hastings when I got that blue snaggletooth years ago. Mm-hmm. Like I stood right in front of Seth and was like, I want to buy this from you right now. I was like, if it's for sale, I want it. And I want you to tell me what you want for it. I don't expect, because we know each other, that I'm not expecting anything other than, and the same thing with Sal when I wanted some stuff from him in this sale, and I was just like, "Yeah, man, just name your price, because I know you well enough. If I'm not going to go looking to find out if you screwed me over, like
exactly,
yeah, right. Ryan can confirm you did not get screwed over.
Oh, I know that for a fact. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, I still wouldn't right. Like
but I've been using Ryan as a resource for a lot of shit. I'll be like, I learned about Action Figure 411, and I'll look like if something like, I don't know, let's say like Wolverine averages at like $23 something, I'll say 20. Like I'm not gonna round up, I'll round down, and I like fives and zeros, really easy, even math.
But your friends shouldn't want you to lose your shirt either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Master Son says he puts on a tinfoil hat. This whole stream is bullshit. They're trying to tell us to sell our collection so they can buy them up. That's a conspiracy.
Look, Master Son, that might be true, but not from you, because I don't collect Bionic 6.
And Jeremy says Dragonheart resides there as well, like in the toilet.
Dragonheart doesn't move because Dragonheart can't move. It's stuck there. There are no leg joints on those figures.
There's probably still a KB toy store open somewhere with a dollar bin full of Dragonheart toys.
Yep. And that same person with the red pen that always crosses out the... I swear. Yep.
Talk about a tedious task.
Mm-hmm.
There was... I saw it... I think I got it in an email or something. There the Dungeons and Dragons line they're doing, they have a dragon. And I sent that to Jeremy. I was like, that's just a Dragonheart dragon. They think they're being slick, but they're not. Like it has like the same arms and legs that barely move. I'm like, that's a Dragonheart dragon. They ain't slick. But no, it's selling toys and all that. Like I'm not trying to get rich off of it or anything, but it's like I have had some people reach out and want like beyond sweetheart deals on stuff, and I'm like, are you asking I'm trying to get in their mental space. Like I'm like, we're friends, but you're also like asking, hey, is it okay if I kind of fuck you over on this a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, especially after the video. And now the video that you premiered before this, well, I saw it a week and a half ago. Sal, I don't remember when you shared the link, but after watching that and knowing why you're selling your collection so you can buy your first home, I don't get the mentality of doing that. Saying, hey, can I get that Vinyl Cape Jawa mint on card for like $30?
Yeah.
That's just like, what you know the story, and I hope I'm not calling anyone out, because I don't know how anyone treated you. I'm just these are all hypotheticals. Mm-hmm. I don't understand that mentality. You're trying to buy your first home, you're already giving your friends good deals, so to speak.
Right.
And it's odd.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting like to buy a house with this. Like, it's going towards that. Like, I'm not
Right.
expecting to be like, oh, I'm gonna get my 40%, Jesus Christ, my like 20% or whatever it is that they usually ask for. Like, I can get a VA loan, which is 0, but that also affects your mortgage. It's like going to a dealership and not putting any money down on the car. Your car payment goes up.
Right.
So I'm like kind of balancing that, but at the same time, it's like I at least like this might cover the mortgage for a month or 2 or like 3, so I can like work and gain that. I think capital might be the word I'm looking for, where
Equity?
I'm ahead. So
Or capital. Okay. Yeah,
so
but I
like,
mean, every little bit helps, and you've invested a lot into your collection.
yeah,
You know, you want to get you want to get enough out of it to get a good little start, right?
yeah.
Yep.
And I understand. Like, I keep grabbing Penguin because he's still here. Like my McFarlane stuff like that, no one's gonna buy that shit individual. I'm gonna have to put it all up as one big thing for like $80 or something. But it's it ebbs and flows.
Hey, Jeremy and Masterson they're saying the VA loan is great. I had a buddy that was Army. He got the VA loan, get his first house. He was happy.
Excuse me. Well, it's like I know I can get a VA loan, and I think you can get more than one, just not at the same time. But it's like I got to meet with realtors and all that kind. Not realtors, but like what's the word I'm looking for? Like financial people to find out like the phrase is how much house you can afford. It's like I can get a 0 VA loan and be like, oh, that's a $500,000 house, and then the mortgage is more than what I make in a month, for example. So I got to figure all that shit out because the market up here is ass.
Yeah,
bad. Like especially I live on it's an island. Technically, it has a bunch of bridges, but it's technically an island. And for whatever reason, all the locals here think this is a vacation spot, and I'm like, you're in Rhode Island. Nothing here is a vacation spot. Like go down where it's warm if you're going to go to the beach. It's like warm here for 3 months out of the year. That's it. But because of that, they're like, oh, well, it's historic. It has this, so the property's worth this. And it's like, no, it's not. It's all very arbitrary. They base it on property value, property tax, and all that kind of shit. But it's like, it just seems like someone's like, oh, a lot of people visit here. And it's close to a beach, and it's close to this, so it's worth this. And it's like, is it? Because beach erosion's a thing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Just look for you can search for a house, under certain parameters, like you want 3-bedroom, whatever, and then just narrow it down and see what you can afford in that bracket and hop on that VA loan, man.
Hell yeah. That's playing chicken or the egg here. So it's like I could do that. I could get the house and move, be done with it, but then I got to move all this shit with me. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. So it's gonna be a thing, but eventually I'm gonna have to do a big ass clearance sale. Be like, who wants to give me $2,000 for all this? Which hopefully I never get to that point. But that's what I didn't mention that in the video. That's kind of what I did with what I call the second collection, which I sold before I joined, which I kept a chunk of it, but like all the other stuff that I took. I took a fucking bath on that. Like I had, was it the A-Wing pilot? I think it was the A-Wing pilot, and he was carded, and the bubble was sealed, but the coin was missing. Like just a fucking product fuck up or whatever. And that was like one of the crown jewels. I had some other sealed shit. Like almost a complete run because I held back some, but I had like a complete run of the vintage figures almost, and I sold all of it for like $500.
Wow,
it happens that way. I mean, I had like the first 3 entire waves of episode 1 carded, including some really really hard to find figures like that R2D2 that was in the episode 1 wave and stuff like that. And this was when the prequel stuff was while still newer. It was, we were about to go into Revenge of the Sith summer. And so prequel stuff was getting traded pretty heavily. Like I don't mean super high prices compared to what you're talking about, but it was desired at the time. Like people were looking for certain things. Mm-hmm. And I sold that entire carded collection of, I want to say it was like 40 or 50 figures. Mm-hmm. And it all went on eBay as one lot. And I think I got like maybe $35 for all of it.
And that was the episode 1 stuff on the Darth Maul card.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And again, it was only 2004, but it was 3 complete waves with the hard to find figures, like with the totally made up Queen Amidala figure and the R2D2 with the rocket jets and everything like that, the Captain Tarpals and all that stuff, like they were all in there. And it,
yeah, that's, I got out of collecting for a little bit in 1999 when that stuff started coming out.
For like 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
For like 2 years.
Oh, okay. So lots of minutes.
Yeah. But I remember the last 2 figures I bought was the Mace Windu. It was like the midnight release exclusive Mace Windu, and the battle droid on the stand up bike thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I had those on card forever. And when I finally sold them, I was like, oh, these must be worth something now. Now they're like 15 years old.
Yeah.
They weren't. They were worth nothing. I think I sold them at a toy show for like $5 each, maybe.
I like to think that there's someone out there who's like watching this just under like a naked bulb in their basement or something with like their manifesto next to their desk, convinced that they're going to pay for everything and sell that like complete set of Garbage Pail Kids cards. And like they're like, between this and my Toy Babies, I'm going to make a killing.
Weren't Garbage Pail Kids cards worth a lot for a while? Or are they still? Or
certain the original runs of them are.
Okay.
Like the very first, I think the first 2 boxes are worth a lot. Like the other ones, like Series 3, 4 from those early 80s years are also worth money. But that Series 1 and Series 2, it's ungodly amounts of money to get those in certain conditions. Obviously,
gotcha.
you can get the single card sets complete. You'll pay for them, but unopened wax packs or an entire unopened box of that original year is ridiculous.
And suddenly I'm filled with regret.
All of mine ended up in like my teacher's desk, and I never saw them again.
Yep.
They would always get taken away from me at school.
It was in 2019. There was a not Seth's store, but there was another store in Oklahoma City that I cannot remember the name of. He had a binder with a complete run of Garbage Pail Kids cards for $20. Now I'm filled with regret.
Yeah.
Wow. Tony's here. He says, greetings from Amphawa, Thailand.
Yep.
I think I'm saying that one right.
He says he's nursing a hangover.
Yeah, a monster hangover even.
I'd be more surprised if he wasn't.
Right.
Yeah. Feel better, Tony. Feel better. I've heard the hair of the dog usually helps. But I don't know.
Yeah, so I definitely got lucky when I got out of collecting for that couple-year gap there, because I didn't get stuck with all those episode 1 and Power of the Jedi was at the same time.
Well, that's the thing. I was in college, and I was in college right as Power of the Force was ending and Power of the Jedi was starting. And so, or is that right? It's something like that. But I didn't have any money for a while, so I kind of skipped over. But when we got to my sophomore year of college, episode 1 came out, and I went, I don't care how many waves of Power of the Force 2 I've had to miss so far. I'm getting those episode 1 figures ahead of the movie, and we all know how that panned out. So
yeah.
But hey, it was an era,
I liked episode 1. All right.
Look, it's my favorite prequel of all 3. I'm just simply saying that the toys ended up not like they didn't suck, but it was like there was the the nostalgia I was hoping to earn or generate from those that I thought came from some sort of like wellspring doesn't actually work that way. You either have an intrinsic connection to it or you don't.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, and that's where the big bins I carried around began. You know,
I have a couple people saying Toy Base 10 for OKC. That is not the store. I know which one you're talking about. It's run by Steve. That's not the same one. I can't remember the name of it. I can remember distinctly the interior. He had a bulldog and he had like paintings on the wall. He was primarily a comic book shop, but I cannot remember the name of it. So if people were curious, I'm actually not a fan of Toy Base 10. And I'll say it publicly. I don't give a shit. The dude was an asshole and a con artist. So he had a lot of stuff. Like the way his store worked was basically you had to pay eBay prices. You would go look it up on eBay and show them the price. But on all their eBay listings, they would say things like cannot verify if authentic kind of stuff on all their stuff. So it's kind of like, so you want to sell this stuff, but you're not going to do the legwork. Got it.
You know, I was in a shop like that one time. The guy had a case with like Fin Fang Foom Wave, which was, it probably still is very expensive. And he had all the really expensive stuff in this case. So I asked him, I said, hey, how much for this, Fin Fang Foom? I just wanted one figure. He said, oh, I'm only selling the set. I said, how much? And he said, let me check. And he pulled up eBay on his phone. And I was like, all right, have a nice day, sir. And I walked out.
Yeah.
If I want to pay eBay prices, I'll just go to eBay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and Jeff McElwee confirms he's still like that too. So, because the dude, he got to start selling like car stereo equipment at flea markets and stuff. Like that's what he did before toys, and he just shifted hard to toys one day. Opened up a store. He claims to have all these like Connex boxes full of quote the good stuff. So it's I dealt with him like a handful of times, and just never again after that. So,
yeah. I was in there one time, and the sheer volume and variety was impressive, but I didn't walk out buying anything. Yeah, that was the trip where I bought the blue snaggletooth from Seth. Yeah.
It was every other Saturday. I usually made a pilgrimage. I'd go to Toy Base. Like when I found out about Toy Base 10, I'd go there first, and then I'd go hang out with Seth, and I'd walk out sometimes with some stuff because it was like. It was kind of organized a little bit. It was basically like a house that had been converted into a toy store. So it was like, okay, McFarlane's here, Transformers are here, but then there'd be like random shit in random places, and then you never knew. Like you'd have to like dig through buckets. Like there might be, I don't know. Like let's say there's this Captain America, but like his shield and everything else would be loose in this bucket, so you'd find the figure and have to dig through everything to look for all the parts, and it was just a big pain in the ass. And it was probably done that way on purpose to keep you in the store longer, so you see other shit. But I always just ended up hanging out with Seth for hours at a time. So that's the way to do it. Seth Hastings. I really wish that he still sold toys.
Me too. But I understand why he doesn't. So.
Yeah. Master said no, Vintage Stock was not the name of it. Vintage Stock is like a chain, and they're not that great either. They can be because they price their shit one time. So if something's being like, if they post a scalp price, it's gonna stay that way regardless of if it goes up or down. You can't haggle with them, but sometimes they'll get shit that like has a big spike. So I got like it was a handful of Vipers for like $5 a piece. Because they didn't keep up with the price trend. They just got them and priced them. And then they were hanging in little baggies. And what was the other one? I got most of the 25th anniversary G.I. Joe shit. I got from them for like $1 a piece because they were just in loose baggies. So sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're really not. So let's see. Ben asks, have priorities changed for you guys in the U.S. since the Ukraine thing? No. No, sorry, they haven't.
Yeah, no, not for me. They've changed for other reasons.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not sure why that would come up for a toy discussion, but okay.
Well, he says he's not getting political, just money wise. I mean, yeah, the economy has been hurt for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, that just be responsible. Don't start being responsible when a war starts. That's my ethos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Let's see. Bjorn. See, I'm learning like Jeff McElwee and Bjorn were outside of OKC. Like, if I'd known you guys were there, we could have met up while I was in OKC. Well, I was OKC for 2 years, Dell City for 1 year. But could have met up. So Tony says Ryan is a sucker. On the eve of the apocalypse, he'll still be buying toys. But
why would I need to buy them though? Would I need to buy them? It'd be like a free for all.
I mean, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole. Oh, you're in Midwest, and then Skydrock is in Midwest. Okay, like I. And Cole says he's in Midwest City right now visiting. You should meet up with Skydra Walker. Have fun. Yeah, OKC. Believe it or not, there's a lot of vintage toys and like toy stores in OKC. It's not somewhere you would think, but they're everywhere.
I've noticed that like in my area, there's not a ton, but like when I see these guys on YouTube and they're somewhere in the Midwest, there's these amazing toy stores everywhere.
Yep,
it's nuts. I'm like, how come none of that's here?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when I travel that until Second Chance Toys opened up here, Atlanta was like, it was the worst place for a toy guy or a collector of pop culture stuff to live. Like you felt like you were exiled in some other dimension for so long, and now that's finally starting to change, but it's taken a really long time to catch up with the rest of the country. It's weird.
Well, you've got a good place with Second Chance.
Yeah,
that place was amazing.
Yeah,
I spent way too much at Second Chance. Way too much. I felt like I needed to though, because I was like, they're open on a day that they're not usually open. They have their full staff here. They're accommodating us. So I was like, I need to spend money here to make it worth their while. I didn't. The last thing I wanted was for people to go in, kind of look around, hang out, and not buy anything. So I was like, I'm going to plan for the worst and assume that no one else is going to buy anything. So let me buy a bunch of shit. But
yeah. I went in there the other day and bought something I've already got 3 of, but it was on a really nice sealed card back. So I thought, well, I'll buy it again. But that's not my common behavior. My common behavior is normally, like I freely admit that when I go in there, I tend to alight on something that I didn't know they'd gotten in that tends to it always tends to be expensive. And I don't want it to be that way. But like I walked in there one day not intending to spend anything. And I was like, ooh, they have a Night Force Shockwave. And then I was a few $100s poorer. But I got Night Force Shockwave.
That's right. I got to eat dry ramen for a week, but I got it.
Yep.
That's right. Masterson says he's going back to OKC soon. They're sending all the E3s to the Boneyard. So he has to go sign his name on the tail number to fucking 0008, the one that tried to kill me. Good. Send that bitch. All of you in the OKC area should link up and have like a little thing, go around to the various places. Go put a bouquet of roses on where Seth's store used to be. I miss that place.
Mark went for the jazzercise.
Good. But no, I miss, like, I learned a lot from Seth too. I just walk in, ding, and then I'd always buy something from him, but we would just sit there and talk toys. I learned a lot from him. Learned how to identify like certain things, like how, this variant, like I learned about like Lily Letty, like stuff like I didn't know about any of that because I was like, I didn't recognize characters, but I learned about like variations on things and how you can differentiate like a Taiwan version from a UK version and crazy stuff, just stuff that he has locked up there. But yeah, he was a hoot. He always got really hard to find shit too. Like all my prototypes came from him. Like he always found weird shit like that. So do you anyone have any questions about the collection and selling it off other than how it makes me feel?
Well, how much?
Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
Simple question. How much, like percentage wise, have you gotten through so far?
I'd say probably 40%, 35-40%.
That's not bad. That's pretty good considering it's been since Christmas.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm down maybe 10% on Marvel Legends. Like I mentioned it in the video and I don't understand it. I feel like I'm the only person who ever bought villains in Marvel Legends because when I listen to them, like I'm selling them, like people only want the villains. Like Michael and Matt, like I have like no X-Men villains left.
I can explain that. Because there's always a new Iron Man, Spider-Man, or Captain America, or Wolverine on the shelf.
Right.
But villains, not that often.
But it's like,
how many Red Skulls are there in the lifetime of Marvel Legends?
Mm-hmm.
I could probably count on one hand.
Yeah, I think it's 5.
And then the MCU.
Yeah.
How many Wolverines are there? Spider-Mans.
God, I got more Wolverines than I can shake a stick at.
Right. So the main heroes, they're going to be in abundance, but for some reason, villains, maybe they don't sell as good at the store.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just less of them.
I curbed my MCU or Marvel Legends goals. I for a while there, I was thinking that I was going to try and get like the entire Spider-Man Rogues Gallery in comic book form and all that kind of stuff because I collected Spider-Man comics growing up. And then after a while, I was like, this seems like a really expensive rabbit hole to go down for something that's just a lark. On the other hand, though, I had always, to Ryan's point, I did want the bad guys who were the bosses in the X-Men arcade game because I loved playing the X-Men arcade game growing up. And Marvel Legends never brought out the correct White Queen until they brought her out in that stupid exclusive multi-pack. And I missed out on that. And so Sal was like, well, that's on my list to sell. And I'm like, I'll take it now. I'll just take it,
That reminds me, Michael, I need to put this in the mail to you.
Oh, I'm not worried about that for now, but thank you.
I forgot all about it. It was wedged up against the side of the shelf, so I didn't see it.
No problem. No problem.
It was on the hero shelf for some reason, but
now I'm staring Hasbro Pulse in the face to get that blob and complete everything. So
yeah. Luckily for Michael, I think I had all the villains.
Mm-hmm.
So
Michael, if I were you, I would for the blob, I would like add it to your wish list on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Someone will buy it.
No, not your public wish list. Just you click the heart and then watch it because I'm telling man, Marvel Legends go down in price on Amazon before they go up.
Okay. You
can get a lot of main characters, a lot of stuff you'll find being discounted, especially around Black Friday that time of year. So my rule the past year or two with Legends has been patience. Like I don't have any Legends on pre-order anymore, which is the first time in probably 7 years.
Right.
Yeah,
the only Legends I have on pre-order is Outback Rogue. That's it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
Reclaimer says, "Yep, now I have a box of X-Men villains, patiently waiting for me to buy another D12." Well, Matt, if you don't mind making a drive, you can have that one over there. That's actually from Seth Hastings' store. It still has the "Please ask for assistance" sticker on it. I'm not gonna need it. Analog Toy says they made 800 Spider-Man last year alone. Yes, they did.
Yeah, the 60th anniversary of Spider-Man. I swear there was like 2 new figures every month.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Wolfie asks if I'm keeping Bosk. Yes, everything Bosk is staying. And then Todd Smith asked, can you compare selling to friends versus eBay versus toy shows, selling lots versus selling individuals? Curious for what to consider. I find selling to my friends is the most gratifying. It's easier. I already know the people. There's no, like, is this person going to fuck me over? Am I going to send some stuff? Like, and they'll tell you, like, I don't like to get payment until I have a tracking number for them because it keeps me honest. Not that I wouldn't take money and not send it out. It just makes me feel bad to accept money when I'm like, I work this schedule where I can't promise I'll get it in the mail the next day kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. eBay, I don't like. I've sold on eBay once back in 2013, I think it was 2012, 2013. I sold off a lot of my Dragon Ball Z figures from Irwin, which I'm really mad at myself now for doing. I kept a couple and then sold the bulk of them because I was like, I don't like Dragon Ball Z. This is stupid. I'm only collecting Star Wars and X-Men. And like, well, I also had nowhere to put them. They were in like a duffel bag, like, because that's what kids do. They were in my duffel bag from childhood.
Right.
I'm glad you had your retainer out since then.
Yeah, yeah. And I sold them for, I think I got like $200 for all of them, which I was like, oh, $200. I did. Oh, cool. And then the guy who bought them listed them on his eBay. And I was like, oh, one of those figures is $120.
Yeah.
I got butt fucked.
Well, and not only that, but eBay fees
Yeah.
are nuts. I hate eBay. I rarely buy anything on eBay, and I do not sell on eBay.
I think it's changed because when I sold, I had to pay an eBay fee and a PayPal fee, and I think now they've like combined it because eBay owns PayPal. I think they've combined
I thought they
it or
split.
something
I thought they were forced to split. Maybe I'm wrong.
maybe, but it was like I think it was combined. I think it was like 25% or something. It was I think it was 10 and 15 individually, but it was stupid, and that was not fun. I haven't sold at a toy show yet. I'm not positive that I will, just because I got to pay booth fees and I got to make the drive. I got to set all that up, and I don't know. I don't have a store. Like it was Retro Expo or something like that. It happened on April 1st, April 2nd, something like that. And I was thinking about it, but I went to apply and it's like, oh, you got to pay like X for whatever booth. You got to pay for this. And they wanted like your store name and all. I'm like, I don't have any of that. I'm just a dude trying to sell some stuff. So I don't, have a name to go with any of it.
When I've done that, I just made up a name.
Hell yeah.
It doesn't matter.
LaserPants Toy Dungeon.
Yeah.
And then selling lots individual. So you'll get more selling individual figures. When you sell lots, you got to come down a little bit, because if you're going to sell someone 5 figures and you're asking full price for all 5, then like, why is anyone going to buy 5 from you? Like, you got to come down a little bit. I tend to, the bigger the lot, I tend to come down a lot. And depending on price, I'll if it exceeds a certain number in my head, I'll do a shipped price on it. But if someone's buying like one single figure, then it'll be like, okay, like if the figure's $10, but it's going to cost me $5 to ship, then it's going to have to be a $15 figure then.
Right.
Because I can't eat all the shipping. I'm in kind of a similar situation with someone right now. I owe them a dinosaur, and I sold them the whole thing of dinosaurs for $50, and I'm like, the shipping on this one dinosaur is going to be over $100. So I don't know how I'm going to ship that, because it's like a 3-foot dinosaur. So I either have to make a box for it and pay weird shipping for it, or I have to get a really big box that'll either be balloon freight because the box is mostly empty, or it'll be freight shipping because the box is so big. So
Mattel ought to be horsewhipped for not allowing those dinosaurs to be disassembled. Like all that one-way assembly on those dinosaurs. Like I have the super jumbo T-Rex that I featured in a video a while back. It's an awesome toy, but once that tail is on it, you can't take the tail off. And it would be much easier to ship it if you could pop the tail back off and pack it all up in a box. Mattel's designers, man, like you just want to. You can take the G.I. Joe flag apart, and you can't take the T-Rex apart. Like,
Matt Movie 611 says he was happy to help me out with my collection recently. Yes, it was a popcorn bucket. So they had the D20. Matt Movie. Our very own Matthew Kearns, or as we like to call him, Matthew LaserPants. Was able to come and
little laser. Well, you were with us, right, when that vendor thought that he was my kid? Oh, that was so fun, because we had joked about it.
Yeah, Jeff, you're about to get blocked, bud. You're about to get blocked.
AFI.
I love AFI. I have for many, many, many years. Since actually Sing the Star, the shirt I was wearing, it's their 20th anniversary. That was my technically second album of theirs. I listened to Art of Drowning before that one came out, but seeing this aura was like a life changer for me. For those that don't know, I've mentioned it a few times, but I feel like there's some people who don't hear it. I am a classically trained musician. That's what I went to college for. And that was my transition from like little kid, like passively listening to stuff on the radio, like, oh, the Gorillas are kind of good, to like, oh, music could be a career. I want to do that. And that AFI is what put me on that path. So, but, well. Yeah, there we go. He says, we joked all week and I was going to get mistaken for Michael's kid that ended up being Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt bad too for that vendor. Because we started laughing, and I think he thought we were laughing at him, but we weren't laughing at him. Just anyway.
Yeah, people can say what they want about Matt, but his work in Almost Famous was amazing. He's such a good sport. I was busting his balls all weekend. He's like, I liked you better when you were just a disembodied voice.
We all did.
That last night at the house before you guys had to fly back, you and him were just trading them, like, and not in any like mean way. Like it wasn't. It never got uncomfortable. It was just like you guys were just like pow 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 pow. It was like a rhythm.
It was a lot of fun. I also got to sleep. It's okay to be jealous. I got to sleep with the duck blanket. So
that's true.
I did.
True.
There's a video on my Facebook that I made because it quickly devolved. We were talking about the duck blanket, and it quickly devolved into the duck. Somehow it quickly devolved into that, and I made this like little commercial of like this like French jazz music of like a lit cigarette and the rain on the window, and just someone going "le duck."
Is there anyone that doesn't know the duck blanket story? Or hasn't seen the video?
The specific story. I mean, I know that I provided it because it's down there in the studio, but I don't know what happened after that. So
I mean, you made a whole video.
Oh yeah. The video that's the blanket I used as a kid to make playset landscapes, because those Biederlack German blankets from the late 70s into the 80s, they had a great weight. So that when you would throw them up in the air and they'd land, they would create these mountains and stuff that actually supported the weight of action figures, and it was different every time. And yeah, I remember my mom. We got into the 90s, and my mom was like, "This blanket is starting to look a little, I think we." And I went up. I said, "You can get it out of the living room or whatever, but you are not throwing that blanket away. I will take it." And I've had it ever since. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I remember that video jarred my memory of something similar. It was like my mom had this little, almost like an area rug type thing, but it was very small, maybe 3 by 4 or so. And it was a pattern with a brown deer running across. The bottom half was green grass. The top half was blue sky. So I would do the same kind of thing, kind of bunch it up, throw it on the floor, and then I had mountains, and then the blue was the water. And so I'd have, my boats and stuff, and then my figures on the land. Yeah.
Perfect.
But where did your hose go? You had the boats. Where'd the hose go?
They were on the boats.
That's right.
That's where I keep my hose.
I didn't have a blanket. I remember the wood blocks in that video. I had a set of wood blocks, which always made great buildings for knocking over and stuff. But I had this, like those not old, but like the vinyl, like thick vinyl curtains, like that you would pull down that were like, boom, they'd like shoot back up if you did it wrong. One of them, like it broke, and I pulled it down, and I was able to break the spring, was broke. I was able to like roll it out, and I like took markers and crayons and I drew a big map on it. And that was like my play mat thing.
Yeah.
And, I got yelled at.
My parents were mildly annoyed because they bought us a dry marker or dry erase board so that we could practice our math homework and stuff, right? Well, Jonathan and I were just getting into, he's my younger brother, we were getting into Dungeons and Dragons around that time, and we realized that if we took it off the wall, because it was pretty big, like it was a big, with the tray for the markers and stuff. If we took it off the wall and laid it on the ground, like on the floor, we could draw the maps for the miniatures in real time, and then play the role playing game. And then when we needed a castle, we got to the castle, we'd erase the whole thing and then draw the castle and then put the miniatures back down. My mom came in one day and we just had the whole house, the whole room dominated with this thing. And there we were drawing the thing. She goes, I buy this to improve your education. And you guys find a way to make it a Dungeons and Dragons thing. And we're like,
at least we're using it.
Yeah.
If only she knew what your career was going to be when you.
I know. Yeah. My sad $15 a day career. She's so proud. No, actually, she is proud. She is, but still.
Speaking of D&D, I saw a video the other day. Someone showed me. I guess I don't know if it's this one guy or if it's a thing now, but he has like a 60-inch monitor or whatever that he's flipped horizontal and put glass over, and then he just brings up a map on the big image on the screen for D&D. And I was like, look at Joey Big Dick over here. Look at
Was that custom table that they built?
I think so. It looked like
I saw that video. Yeah.
Yeah, like he has like the miniatures on the glass, and then he'll like change the landscape and move the stuff around. And I'm like, that's if I could have that for D&D, cool. Like I have the imagination, like I can do creative things. But when I'm playing, like I've played D&D like maybe 3 times. I can count on one hand, and I always try to make a lawful good character. I end up being chaotic neutral every time. So I don't play to my strengths, is what I'm saying. And I'm like, I have a hard time like imagining shit, and like some people take it really seriously, like they get into their character that they make, and I'm like, I'm just here to roll dice and fuck shit up. So
I'm just here for the Doritos.
That's right. If I don't leave here with like orange fingerprints on my pants, I'm gonna be very upset.
That's right. It's not worth
you guys are both big D&D guys?
I was as an adolescent. I'm not now. No.
I've never played.
I was back then. You what?
Gotcha.
You never?
I've never played.
Yeah. If it's pretty simple. Like obviously there are rules, but we don't have dice with us. But basically, it's like, okay, Ryan, pick your character, and you're like, I want to be a dwarf, and you're like, okay, great. You're in the tavern, and a strange person comes up to you, and they tell you that there's treasure in a cave beyond the forest of whatever. What do you want to do? And you're like, you can say anything. You can say, I don't want to go on the quest, and I want to keep drinking. And we go, okay. And that it just rolls like that. And it sounds really boring, but if you get rolling with it, no pun intended, especially with the combat and stuff, it can become fun. But for me, it was an adolescent thing. Once I got into high school and stuff, as much as I looked back on it fondly, I never really wanted to play it again. It was a phase for me. Whereas some people, it's life. It's like their thing. Those are the people that don't shower at Dragon Con for days on end, and they play in the tournament rooms all day, like all weekend.
Those are the ones that smell like the sweaty butt crack from a mile away.
You walk past the role playing gaming room at Dragon Con, you always know it before you get there because you're like, and then it's like, yeah.
So Melinda, hi Melinda, says that Ryan would be fun to play D&D with, which I think that was on the table for the first Iconicon, maybe the second. We were talking about doing a D&D session, but we had that time limit where we're like, I don't think we can really, like, we'd have to build all of our characters ahead of time and all that. So
the D&D, is Warhammer 40K like the same type of thing? Like D&D, you have miniatures, or? Well,
D&D, you can choose to have miniatures if your players have a hard time visualizing, but you can play it without miniatures. You can just play it all in your head. Warhammer is a tabletop combat game, so you have to have the miniatures and the weaponry and stuff and the landscapes in order to effectively play the game. But with D&D, if you have the right pile of dice and you have your character sheet, you could play it. You could practically play it in a porta potty if you wanted to. Like there's nothing that you need that's all that substantial. It's all up here. So
speaking of Iconicon and doing things in porta potties,
I don't remember that part, but okay.
Yeah, I kind of touched on this story a little bit right before we went live, and they're like, save it. So here's the fun thing about Iconicon and not being on camera. So the first Iconicon, I think it was first Iconicon.
And here we go.
So I didn't have a desktop computer. I had a laptop at the time. And we were in the middle of a stream, and I got the bubble guts real bad. Like, I had to go just like that. Like, it was not, there was no waiting. Like, it was like, okay, what? And that's what it sounded like. So I muted my camera, and I fucking put my headphones in right in the bathroom and just listening to it. And it was rough. So in the middle of one of the streams, I don't remember which one, but I took a massive shit. Like, it just, whew, it was rough. It was rough.
And then you got COVID.
I got COVID during the second one. Yeah.
Okay, second one.
Yeah, we went to Joe Fest. I was fine all through Joe Fest. I was fine at the meetup. I flew back. Felt a little shitty the next day, which was the day Iconicon started. But I was like, maybe it's travel. I traveled all day yesterday. Maybe it's that. And then it didn't go away. It just got worse and worse and worse. And I was like decrepit Squidward, just like through the whole thing. Like, let's do it. I think I want to say Friday was the worst. It was Friday or Saturday, to a point where I was in the Iconicon group chat, and I was like, "Can anyone please take this live stream? Like, I'm not gonna make it."
I remember that.
Yeah, and I think that might have been the movie one. It was one of the ones that Jeff was on, and I was like, before we went live in the green room, I was like, "You guys are gonna have to carry this stream. I don't feel well at all." So
Wasn't it Power Rangers?
It might have been. It was either Power Rangers. No, it was one that I was hosting. It was. Okay. I want to say it was the video game movie one. I want to say it was that one, but I was not. I was in no shape to be doing anything. But I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Here we go. And God, it was rough, but made it through. And then I spent like the next week after that just pretending that I didn't exist. So, because work at the time would only give you 5 days off for COVID, and I was on leave when I got it. So I'd already technically had my 5 days. And so I had to go back to work, and I was just like, don't call me for anything. I was like, if someone gets shot, I'll show up. If someone ran a stop sign, I don't care. They can run all of them. They can take the stop sign home with them. I don't care. Don't call me.
Yeah, so, I remember after the first year, Melinda and Tony and everybody on the planning team were like, "Hey, Michael, we're sorry that," because I didn't complain. I didn't really realize. I thought it was just the name of the game, and they were like, "We accidentally overscheduled you for a lot of streams on the first year, so we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen this year." And I was like, "Okay, fine, cool, whatever." And then Tony's flight got canceled because of all that craziness that was going on in the FAA, system there. And so I had to take Tony to the airport at like 3 a.m. in order to catch his flight to go see Bobby. And so I woke up and, got Tony out of bed and got him on the, in the car and took him to the airport. And then I was coming back. That prevented Tony, that canceled flight prevented him from being able to do 2 streams in a row that had been scheduled. Mm-hmm. So I got home and it was like 4:40 in the morning. I've had like 3 hours of sleep. And I'm like, you know what? If I go to bed and then wake up to try and do this 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock stream, whatever it is, we won't be ready. So I'm just going to stay up and get the whole table set up and get everything ready for this stream that was supposed to be an analog toy stream, but he can't because he's literally in the air or whatever. And I was like, and then there's one right after that. So I ended up staying up for like 24 hours straight. And Melinda comes down at like 7:30 in the morning. Like, she's like, "Babe, I heard," she's like rubbing her eyes. She's like, "What are you still doing? Why didn't you come back to bed when you went home?" And I pointed to the table and it was all set up for G.I. Joe with the Joe Berg thing and everything. And I'm like, well, how would that have gotten done? And she's like, "Well, I don't know. I just fit," and I'm like, "Nope, the show must go on." And so you just find yourself in this zombie mode, where you're kind of like just going through it, just on autopilot. You're not sure how you're accomplishing anything. Yeah. So
I think it was the year prior. I had taken leave, but I was on nights and all that,
Mhm.
and so I was like awake during the night, and I would like sleep during the day. So if I had like, I think I had 3 streams back to back
Right.
with like little breaks. So I'd like go lay on my futon for 20 minutes and take a nap and wake up and come do the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
exhausting.
Well, that couch thing that's in front of the television in the studio. Melinda, and then after I got the 2 analog, after I did the streams that Tony couldn't do because of the flight cancellation, Melinda and April and Matt were like, okay, Michael, now what you're going to do is we're going to take you over here and lay you down. And then they gave me the duck blanket, and they were like, just recline back and we'll wake you up in several hours when we need you again. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll power down now, Master Luke.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was. So also, I felt, speaking about Iconicon and Tony's flights and all that, originally I was supposed to go get Tony from the airport.
Right.
And he was supposed to stay with me that night. He was going to live stream from here because he, didn't want to have to check into his hotel, get all that set up. And I felt absolutely horrible about it.
Well, yeah, you don't want to give him COVID.
Well,
yeah.
That was the thing. I didn't know it was COVID at the time. It took me a couple days till I lost taste and smell.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm really sick. Like, I don't know what it is. I want to give it to you.
Right.
I still feel bad about it, but it just monkey wrenched everything.
Sure. But again, right move.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have gotten COVID. Like,
right. Yeah. Matt asked if I ever got around to watching The Shadow. I did watch The Shadow. I watched The Shadow and Dick Tracy in the same setting, and Dick Tracy was amazing. Yeah,
Dick Tracy's underrated. It's a good movie. I wish Warren Beatty would have cast someone other than himself as Dick Tracy. Yeah. But yeah, Dick Tracy's worth watching. The Shadow.
I remember liking The Shadow as a kid.
It's not terrible.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's just it's not brave enough to do what that comic adaptation needs to do. Shadow as a movie feels like it's holding back all the time. And that's the problem with it. It's like, if you guys had just gone for it, but they were like trying to, it's almost like they were trying to take too many cues from Tim Burton's Batman while also trying to be something else. And it didn't quite pan out. It's not a bad film, but it's clearly a hesitant movie.
Dick Tracy also has pre-surgery Madonna.
Yes. Madonna at the height of her power.
Yeah. There's a scene where I can't remember the character's name. It's Dick Tracy's girlfriend and the kid.
Tess Trueheart.
Yeah, they go to get ice cream. And they leave, and within like a few seconds, Madonna's character's at the door knocking on it. He's like, "Oh, that was fast. Y'all came. What flavor did you get?" And she says something to the effect of, "It's peach flavor, but it's runny, so you better eat it fast." And I was like, hey. Like, ooh. I was like, things that aged. Ooh. God bless.
That's one of Dick Tracy is responsible for why The Rocketeer ended up not being a Touchstone picture. Because Touchstone was Disney's slightly more mature film production, but all of there was it wasn't controversial like Temple of Doom was controversial, but there was just enough not controversy, just enough discomfort around Dick Tracy pushing the envelope with the Touchstone Pictures label that. And what Disney felt was a lack of Batman level success with the movie. It did well, but it didn't do as well as Batman. And they were like, So Rocketeer was supposed to be a Touchstone Pictures production. And they were like, no, you know what? We're going to just full on Walt Disney Pictures this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, Rocketeer is a great film, totally underrated. But imagine what it could have been like if they had just been allowed to do what they wanted to do under the Touchstone logo.
Especially, I mean, Jennifer Connelly. Just magnifique.
Yeah.
Rick Clemmer says homina. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Drew G says swing.
Shawing.
I love
Garth. So, fun fact. the Salvador name, all that shit. Once upon a time. So, in the military, those of you in the military will know, or veterans will know, anytime there's any formal training or anything, there's a muster sheet you have to sign. It has your name, rate, rank, job, whatever, signature. So they usually print your name, you sign next to your name saying, yeah, I was here, I got the training, blah, blah, blah. They thought it would be funny to change the name, because Sal is my real nickname. They thought it would be funny to call me Sal Vader, because whatever reason. But they misspelled it and spelled Vador instead, because Vader, I could see the confusion if you really don't know anything. Mm-hmm. So that just became the name on YouTube. But it was almost Garth Vader instead, because during a deployment, my call sign was Garth, because I had glasses and they're like, oh, he's kind of like Garth. He's kind of weird. So Garth was my call sign for that trip. So it was almost Garth Vader instead. But
you lucked out.
Yeah. That's I don't know. I think I do a pretty good. I think I did a Garth impression on Loose But Complete when they were doing the Jeremy memes.
Remind me.
Jeremy, they poorly photoshopped his face onto like a stripper or something like that. It was like hit me in the face with his toys or something like that. Oh, yeah. And I was like, makes me feel kind of funny, like we climbed the rope in gym class.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Oh yeah. See. Oh, Mastron, you never did that. Oh, not that I ever did that. Got it. Okay. Sorry. Old man eyes. It's all kind of blurry. But no. So the Rocketeer, I saw that on VHS, I want to say. And I thought it was a fever dream. Like, I have memories of like watching these movies from when I was very, very, very young. Not like it. Long story short, I had an aunt who owned like a video rental store in a small town. So she would like just bring movies over whenever we were visiting my grandma, and we would just watch them. Like, don't know the names of them. We would just watch them. And Rocketeer was one of them. And like, I'd never seen anything about the Rocketeer for like 10 years after that. So I was like, maybe this is all a fucking dream. I don't.
Yeah.
Same thing with My Neighbor Totoro. I watched that. And there's a movie. I don't know the American name of it, because apparently this is the Australian release name, but the movie was called The Thief and the Cobbler.
Okay.
It's called something else for Americans, but I grew up calling it The Thief and the Cobbler.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like some MC Escher shit. Like, you watch the animation and he's like, one of the guys is like running across this like diagonally checkered thing, and then all of a sudden he's falling downstairs because it bleeds in, and it's a mind trip. It's a good movie. It's really funny, but it's a mind trip. But just speaking about fucking videos, movies, all that shit, I had an idea that I wanted to run by you, and it's just a completely non sequitur. It's just something I've been thinking about how cool this concept would be, where they'd have not, I guess, an Avengers style team, but it's based on American folklore. So you have like Paul Bunyan, John Henry, like all these guys that are kind of like American folk heroes, but they're actual heroes. They, but what they fight is like kind of American myth stuff, where they fight like Wendigos and skinwalkers and maybe Bigfoot, things like that.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
Someone should do that. Someone who has more talent than me should do that. Bobby, if you're listening,
you shouldn't give that away.
If it's Bobby, he can have it.
There you go.
Anyone else? You heard it here first. So, Johnny Appleseed with an M240. Oh Lord!
I got a message from somebody, and I missed it. I missed it for a while. I don't know how. And then they sent me another message recently, and I saw their previous message that I never answered, and I felt bad, but I was more fixated on that message. Mm-hmm. Apparently, last year, I predicted the entire Return of the Jedi retro collection wave, minus I had one error, but otherwise I nailed it. And it's funny. It's that whole thing you were just kind of, talking about, like trying to predict trends, trying to predict what the next hot thing is, what concept could work. or whatever. And it's funny when that happens. Even in the case like this where I was just being cynical. It's like, oh, they're going to do this, and this. And what do? They did this, and this, and subbed one figure out for another one. And that was it. I was like, I didn't even realize because I didn't pay attention. But yeah, when you have a good idea like that you can own, it's always good to hold on to it until you can figure out what to do with it.
I find it funny that they've also abandoned the board game thing. Like I thought for sure they would do the Sarlacc Pit board game.
Right.
And have like, I don't know, like a Claw 2 or something stupid pack.
Yeah.
But nope.
I bet you they determined that particular board game was too expensive to recreate because of the pieces and the way the board's set up and all that. I bet you they're like, oh no, not that one. That was too expensive.
I one of the customs I'd intended to make, and I couldn't make it because I needed a full aerial view of the Sarlacc, and I couldn't pull anything from the movie. But I wanted to make like a Kenner style Sarlacc Pit playset where it was just a flat piece of cardboard with a picture of the Sarlacc on it.
Yep.
Molded little mountain things next to it, like molded little dunes. And I thought that would be, that's probably what Kenner would do.
Oh yeah.
Maybe put felt in the middle of the Sarlacc so something could go down into it.
Yep.
Never got around to doing it.
Yeah. Even as a kid, I never got around to that. Meaning because there was a Kenner commercial back then where they didn't have a skiff back then, like a skiff. That wasn't until 85. But they did this commercial where these kids were out in the backyard. They dug a hole in a sand pit, and they'd put, or it was more of a dirt pit, but they put like a it wasn't a ruler, but it was like a thin rectangular slab of wood across it. And it was Luke and Lando, Jedi Knight and Skiff Guard figures on it. And then the bad guys were like, Jabba was going to knock you into the Sarlacc pit, which was just the hole. Right. And as a kid, I was always like, I need to do that. And then I never did because I didn't want to go get the shovel.
Yeah.
So
I dug lots of holes, and my dad will tell you because I got yelled at because I wouldn't fill them back in, and he'd try to mow the grass.
Oh man!
He had a push mower. So
my parents had this atrium off the living room, which was like a rockery built-in planters, and I would dig in that dirt in there and like bury GI Joes, and I'd get the hose and add water and just make a mess. And I didn't know what I was digging up, but they were bulbs that my mother had planted. And so I'm digging up these bulbs. I'm like, what is this? And like tossing it out in the yard. It was like her flower bulbs. Oh, she was so mad at me. She's like, you dug up all my bulbs. And years later, when they ripped that thing out, she found buried toys.
Wow.
In old like 1/18 scale die-cast trucks that I use with my GI Joes, and she found the Dark Knight. Not Dark Knight, Toy Biz Penguin from the DC Superheroes line.
Oh wow.
All kinds of stuff out there. Yeah.
Wow.
So again with the musician thing, some instruments like violas, violins, some guitars have to have like humidity packs, or you can buy like these it's like a silicone tube that has like a sponge in it for humidity to climate control your weapons, climate control your instruments. And I'd never seen one before. And this viola major that I was friends with, she had one. I'd never seen one before. Didn't know what it was. Just picked it up and was looking at it. She went to go do some shit. Sitting there in the computer lab, I was looking at it, and I could see like the sponge in it. And to this day, I don't know what possessed me to do it. But I started, because it's like little holes, I kind of like pulled the hole a little bit, and I started like picking at the sponge. And then I got a really good grip on it and went and pulled the sponge clean out of it and started swinging the thing around being a dick. And it turns out you can't get the sponge back in. So I ruined like a $15 thing for her instrument that she needed.
Nice.
Just talking about ruining shit for people. So, yeah.
Well, when I would finish playing in the mud, I actually like to keep my toys kind of clean. So I bring in all those muddy toys in the bathroom sink and just leave a mess. My mom would go nuts.
Hell yeah. The thing I did that drove my parents nuts with toys like that, I had this obsession with taking GI Joes, taking a cup of water, put a GI Joe in it, and put it in the freezer and freeze it.
Yep.
And it started off with one, and then my mom got mad because I had taken everything out of the freezer and put like 20 cups into the freezer to freeze my GI Joes. And I did that before I went to bed because I wanted them to be frozen in the morning. And so when she got down in the morning, all the food had thawed out all over the counter, like hamburger meat. It was not a good time for Sal that day. But I got to thaw out my GI Joes, and that was the fun part.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's stupid. So
I remember freezing a figure like that in water, and then not wanting to wait for it to thaw. So I tried to crack the ice open, and the figure shattered.
Oh,
yeah.
I never froze figures. I do remember one time I had this pristine container that had never been used of white Play-Doh, and I took it out and I was like, ooh, and I flattened it out kinda, and then I put my vintage Boba Fett face down in the middle of it, and then pulled him out so that it was like an impression, and then I let it dry on the windowsill, and then I colored it with like colored pencils to like, make it look like the figure did.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that, and then like one time for some reason, don't ask me why, I took my brand new GI Joe bats, and my mom was pissed because I wasted like an entire roll of toilet paper. I literally took him into the bathroom, and I wrapped him in one wrap of toilet paper, and then I ran him under the faucet, and then I wrapped him in more toilet paper and ran it under the faucet until it was just this big lump of toilet paper that dried overnight, and then I opened it up like a dang cocoon, like he
like
was
paper mache.
Yeah. I mean, the bat was just fine. He was fine, but it was just dumb stuff like that. I didn't, I don't know. I never got to the freezer part of it. So
I just wonder what synapses fire in the childhood brain that's like, you know what, this is a good idea. This is sound investment. I'm going to do this.
Right.
This is what I want.
Yeah.
All the things we did before, like our generation, we didn't have iPads. We didn't have, every cartoon ever at our fingertips all day long whenever we wanted.
We had to make our own fun.
Yeah, we did weird shit.
Dark turns.
Well, it's like, so I was a similar topic, talking about this at work with one of the guys. Just talking about like old video games and all, or not old video games, but video games from years back, and how you only had like 5 games, 6 games, maybe. Mm-hmm. So you just played the shit out of them. Even if it was a bad game, you were going to keep playing it till you liked it.
Yep.
And watching speedrunners, it's like, oh, how did you find that glitch? Like, how did you figure out bomb hovering and Ocarina of Time and all that kind of stuff? It's like, because you're bored.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you do shit like, can I backflip from Hyrule Castle all the way to Kakariko Village? Can I do that? And because you've beaten the game, but you're not ready to give up that world yet. So you just play and do, like, can I run backwards through this? Can I, I don't know. Can I kill all the bad guys in James Bond only shooting them in the feet? Like, you just do weird shit like that.
Yeah.
You want to play the game, but you've already beaten it, and you know it like the back of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So,
100%.
But I guess Melinda said she never had her figure frozen, but she had her bra frozen at a slumber party once.
Wow.
Me too.
Yeah, same. Yeah, my titties were never the same.
I can still cut glass.
Yep. Masterson says, listen to you old farts. Back in my study day, we had to use our imagination. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. That was actually one of my more proud, one of the videos I'm more proud of. God, words are hard. For Iconicon was about imagination and how like that was really like when we talk about play sets and figures and this being cool. It's like the ultimate thing was your imagination, because that's what made everything click together.
Yep.
But no one watched it, so Because y'all lack imagination.
There are times where you when you were a kid that your imagination was on fire, and there were other times where you were just killing time.
Yep.
Because I remember one afternoon, it was as the sun was going down and the fireflies were just starting to come out, but it was still light out. My brother and I just we picked one Return of the Jedi figure, no weapons or anything, took him outside to the backyard, and just both of us started to see how high up in the air we could throw this figure. And it would just hit the fescue. It would be fine. And then we pick it up and try again. And that was what we did for I don't know, it felt like an hour. Those were the nadir moments of your imagination where you had nothing. It was just, but you didn't want to sit and watch your parents watch TV. You went and did something,
Mm-hmm.
For me, I didn't want to watch MASH.
Right.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, don't.
And you just ran from the room. It was just
Yes.
no. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember.
Yeah. I remember my dad watching all sorts of stuff. I would watch Star Trek with him occasionally when he had it. And that was kind of about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it was the colors and all that.
Yeah.
Oops. This fucking thing. Sorry. But yeah, we've been going for about 90 minutes. I don't know if anyone has any parting thoughts or any burning questions that they have.
I'm just always thrilled to hang out with you guys. That's all. Yeah.
I don't really have any questions, but I was happy to hang out with you guys.
I'm also glad that Sal, like I said, he has inspired me over the last few weeks to really take a hard look at my collection, because I don't want to carry all this stuff around for the rest of my life. Not all of it. It makes you go, yeah, maybe it's time for a little bit of spring cleaning. It is spring after all. And so that taking that stuff over to that toy store today and finally getting off my butt and sending Tim his parcel, that clears up a little corner, that's really helpful psychologically. It makes you feel like the walls aren't closing in on you. I highly recommend it to anybody who's so
it becomes overwhelming quickly. Especially when you have a confined space for stuff and that fills up, and I see more things that I want, I'm getting into different things, or not different things, but other things that I want that I don't have room for, I guess, that are not toy related necessarily. I painted up a skull the other day. Actually just finished it tonight. But it's I want to do these things, but nowhere to put them.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things, I guess.
Yeah.
There's one question, if I can pull it up so I can read it in the big words. Curious if your decollecting videos will get views. I hope they do. This is a great topic. I hope so. It's not necessarily about views, but I think it's something that needs to be addressed in the community. You can have too much. What's the phrase? He who dies with the most toys still dies. And my not to be dour, but my line of work, there's a mortality rate.
Right.
So it's not likely, but it's possible. Any of one of us could get hit by a fucking eagle flying overhead and dropping a turtle on us. So
true.
Yeah, look, there is value in all this junk behind me, right? But you leave it all behind, it becomes a big chore for the next of kin. So
right.
Well, I know Melinda's making a song, but Melinda, if you want it, I'll send it to you.
She has a skull upstairs, another artificial yet very realistic looking skull. She just, forgot that it's up there in the bonus room. She can paint it if she wants to. So
I was going to say whose skull, but
we don't speak about that.
Okay.
There's no statute of limitations on that.
I do appreciate the Glenn Danzig lyrics. That was cool.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, as they being the two gentlemen here both know, I'm available for Loose But Complete. Ancient Mysteries is still ongoing.
Yes.
Nice.
I believe the next topic is Darren Kuyu.
Yes.
So,
I just have to schedule it. I was trying to get back in the saddle with some other things.
Yep.
It's not dead, everybody. It's still going. So,
but the people who built it definitely are.
Definitely dead. Yes.
Yeah. So, and if you Darren, I think it's DERENKUYU. If people want to look it up, it's really interesting. It's like a giant city underneath of a city that the people who live above it have lived there the entire time that city's been there, and it faded into myth. No one thought it was real, and then they found it. So, like other things.
Yep. It shows you there is value sometimes in falling down a manhole.
Yep.
So,
Legs be damned.
Rarely, but sometimes.
So, quickly before we leave, another dumb kid thing.
Mhm.
I used to go around as a kid and knock on manhole covers, expecting the Ninja Turtles to open it up and answer. So
Yeah.
I'd poke my head in sewer drains looking for them.
And all you found were angry sewer workers who were like, "Get out of here, kid!"
Pretty much. So I eagerly await the next Rift Tracks episode. I had a lot of fun doing that. So as for YouTube, I like doing this part. You'll probably do more of these. I still owe a couple episodes of The Way I Played to a few people. So I got to knock those out. But
Yeah.
other than that, it
Rift
might be a while.
Tracks is coming back too. Rift Track, we're just trying to get it scheduled. We'll be doing more Rift Tracks.
So I would love to see Ryan on the next one.
Oh,
I would love to do it. I feel bad I had to turn him down last time, but hopefully next time I can make it work.
It is so much fun. So
It looks like it. I've watched them and they're hilarious.
Yeah, you have an open invitation, Ryan. When we get the next one scheduled, you have an open invite. So
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah.
all right, everyone. We will see you in the various places. Links for 3POA and RetroBlasting are down below, obviously. And I thank everyone for stopping by, and we will see you all next time.
Later.